everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my friend Sarah Adams. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you for having me on, my love.
Yes. I wish I lived closer. I got to see Sarah not too long ago, a couple months ago, 3 months ago maybe, in Sedona, and I just love her energy. Sarah Adams, when I first met her, the first time I met her was I watched her on George Norrie on Coast to Coast, and I watched the clip like 10 times because he said to you, you're just sitting there very shy, like, and he says to you, do you realize that you're glowing?
I remember that.
And you said, yes. And so then I got to meet you in person in Denver. Well, I got to meet you at Boulder Exo when we had that at the law school. And then I got to meet you at Michael and Ellen Orwig's. And you guys, Sarah Adams is a remarkable being of light, and she is one of the most generous people I know. Well, you really want to help people. You really want to help them, and you really have a way of working with people that there's no shame or blame. It's just expansive. So, Sarah, tell us about your journey right now. You've done all this cool stuff. You're living in Sedona. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with you, and how you're dealing with all these changes in the world.
Well, recently with the eclipse, I was transmuting a lot of dense energies, and I just noticed a lot of people were chaotic. So that's something I encountered. I understand it's because of the unhealed things that they have. And that's why right now it's really important to do the self-work, completely important to do the self-work. So for me, my message to people is like to step up your self-work. If you're not feeling good, if you're feeling down, unwell, go to the gym, do yoga, detox your body, eat a healthy diet, heal your gut system, do your energy work, start listening to your emotions. That's my biggest message right now to people, to get them out of this hole, because I feel ever since we had this whole, virus scare, that a lot of people, it brought up all their fear, their anger, just their unhappiness in life. But you're not going to be able to change that unless it comes to the surface. So for me, it's a blessing for the world.
That's wonderful. Yes, there's people on already saying that you helped them through your depression and they love you. So yeah, welcome everyone. The thing that I find that's so amazing about you is that you're capable of embodying, because that's what I see. That's kind of it's a high contrast between being expansive and seeing the world through those eyes, source's eyes, and then being in this physical vessel and not getting triggered, and staying in love. How can people learn to do that?
Self-care. Self-care and energy work. That's one of the main things. So, I get up, like I said, I go to the gym. I do a lot of self-care. I'll do a sauna. I'll take my superfoods. I'll make sure that my system is happy, that my emotions are happy. If something comes up, instead of running from it, instead of eating sugar or, dense foods that block it, I talk to it and ask it why it's there. And then I understand it's a wise teacher. So if you're feeling any emotion of being imbalanced or unhappy, it's there to tell you that something is off in your system, either your cells, your organs, your energy field, or your life. So I go into this state where I talk to my higher self and my body and my system. I say, okay, I have this feeling. Why is it here? What's the message for me? And I go through my emotions. I go through my thought forms. I go through all parts of myself, which is really, really important. I think a lot of people out there, they live like robots. They don't understand, they're at their mercy of what they're feeling. They don't understand it. It's time for us to actually awaken and understand that emotions are divine messengers. Even thought forms are divine messengers, and we need to go ahead and we need to start listening to them rather than suppressing them or pushing them away or taking medications that just kind of like push them out.
Well, how here? Sorry, a sec. I was inviting some people. How do people know? I think there's a stress right now about making decisions because you can't tell what's true. I mean, this whole time period, I know that it was divinely orchestrated for us to wake up. And you're one of the teachers that has shown up that knows how to connect the multidimensional aspects of ourselves to ourselves so we can be in community, in group, so we can change the paradigm that we've been in, because a lot of us have been lone wolves. We've been hiding. Well, I mean, I've been doing this for 21 years behind the scenes, just reading people's energy. Not always, I mean, people are still human, so everybody's still learning. So not everybody's always in integrity. I'm learning too. But how do people start to do the, I mean, you are an example of someone who's doing the big work and doing it for the world, not just for me or for someone you do a one-on-one. Can you explain your mission about that? Because it's remarkable. Because honestly, I've watched you from the very beginning where your English wasn't very good. And you are amazing. Amazing. And that's just been years, not decades.
Well, I continue to grow, but I'm always doing more for myself, doing more for others. I understand there's not a lot of people, at this point in integrity. And, if you're not a friend to yourself because you're not doing your self-work and being healthy, you can't be good to other people and a friend to other people. So that's how I see it. So I understand they're just hurting and in pain. So I just kind of take a step back when it comes to, doing my self-work. I focus mainly on that because I know I'll change the world through my frequency above all, which is really important. And my mission, this is a big one, but it's great. It was like, okay, humanity is disconnected. We have all these people walking around out there. They're robots. They don't know, that they have a soul. They don't know what their emotions mean. They don't listen to the divine messages. There's this huge disconnect going on in the world. And I was, divinely sent to come and tell people and show them how they can reconnect to their systems and help empower them, because everyone's God consciousness. Not many people know that though. And when you're in God consciousness, you have this immense power. And so my mission is to get together a large group, most likely 1,000 or more people, which I'm doing that right now, get them to understand their system, get it to come back online, and then use those abilities to actually help out the planet, because we need to use our abilities to heal the oceans, to heal the earth, to shift the earth and bring it back into higher energies and frequencies. So that's my divine mission.
Wow. So my mission is to help as many people wake up to their divinity as possible. So that's why I love working with people like you, because you are a mirror and you are showing them we're this physical vessel is a projection of our thought forms, of our emotions. And so we can clear that. How do you feel that, because I know you do one-on-one healings, because you've done some for me, and you do this group work. One thing is helping people learn how to do it themselves, and the other thing is you working on them. So how do you juggle those two things?
Usually, the route I take is to teach people how to work on themselves, because I want them empowered. I want, once they're done working with me, that they can understand how their system works and they can use, their system to go ahead and expand themselves, which is important more and more to spiritually grow. So I get my clients to do the work. I'm like, okay, you have these abilities. You have the same abilities as I do. I was just sent here to remind you, I'm not on a pedestal above you. You have the same abilities. I just know how they, work. And I'm here to transfer that information to you so you can understand that too and ascend into your God consciousness. So I actually get my clients, most of them, I'd say 90% of them, to do the work. So I'm like, okay, you're going to do this, visualize this, speak to your emotions, speak to your cells, your organs. That's how I go about it. Now, if it's a case where somebody is dying in the hospital, that's where I'll come in. I know that they really need a hand up, and that's where I will go ahead and I will do most not get them to do any of the work really for now until they're strong enough to do it. And I'll come in and I'll just keep lifting them up until they can do the work themselves.
So how do you feel that this works with healing the earth? Because I really feel that a lot of the energy workers and the leaders and teachers right now are clearing people's vessels so that we can help the earth, because we are the earth.
Yes.
But we think we're separate. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because you're in Sedona, which is one of the coolest places in the world.
Yes. So, we have all these divine abilities. And just like for those of you who understand Reiki, you can send energy, you can transmute things. We can do that for the pollution. We can, in the skies and the oceans, we can do the same thing. So the earth, it really needs us right now to do these things. I get a lot of my clients to work on the earth. I'm like, okay, we're doing a lot of self work, but we're going to take a space in this session to actually focus on the oceans, focus on the skies, and clear the pollution and clear the dense energies. And I feel that that's really the ultimate solution to this, because pollution is simply a dense energy that can be transmuted. And I found that out myself. The ETs told me all about this. They told me something very interesting. They said in the word pollution, you have pole and then you have ion, which is energy. That means that the ion, the energy spinning the polar opposite way of the divine way it's meant to spin. And we can actually spin it back in the divine way. We have this ability. So the ETs told me this some years ago. So we can affect and do affect energy. And it's important that we understand our abilities and that we understand how they work. So then not only can we heal ourselves, but we can start to heal the earth.
Well, and this time period that we're in right now, it seems as though it's sometimes times really fast and then sometimes times really slow. So
we're shifting in so many timelines and out of so many timelines. It's kind of juggling around right now. It's also important that we understand we can anchor higher energy timelines in via using higher energies. This is why the Philadelphia experiment on time travel was done using, the a charge of this storm that they had back then. We can collect and gather energies, cosmic energies, which creates a charge in us, and we can use those charges all together to shift the timeline of the planet. So we can definitely time travel. I jump into bodies in my past, I jump into the future, into different avatars. So we can time travel. All of us can time travel. We can all shift timelines. It is really important to have a community of people that all have their abilities lit up, and understand how their system works, because this is all divine tech, the soul energy, and even the physical body. It was given to us as a gift. It was not given to us so that we could, just suffer all the time. So it's really important to get to a space where you're in inner peace, where you feel loved, where you're happy, where you're just growing and evolving, and you're tapped into God consciousness, because then that God consciousness coming through you will guide you on how to shift the timelines. All the information that I get, it comes through when I'm, walking around and I'm visualizing myself in a bubble of golden light, or when I'm in meditation, just sitting there, visualizing different things or talking to my system, this information comes through. So it's God consciousness speaking through me. We need more people to actually do the sacred work so God consciousness can come through them, because in the end, we are our own Christ and Saviors. Nobody's come and save us. Right. We are going to save ourselves, and we're going to save the planet. And that's the ultimate divine plan. God is this ancient divine force that has, it's so powerful. There is no dark beings or darkness that can ever overcome it. And I think a lot of people, they're suffering right now with this chaos, and they need to understand there is, once you tap into God consciousness, there is nothing above that. And there's nothing that can destroy that or harm that. So in the end, you're okay. Sure, you're going to go through some things, and you went through some things, but since you have God, you're always going to be okay.
So the community allows you to have playmates that are also on the same journey, and that you don't really have to explain everything to. But I do have a question about all of the ETs and the multidimensional beings, because I know that you can actually phase yourself. You can change into, you can, I think, can you walk through walls? You definitely can change your
I can get out of my body and walk through walls. I can dream walks. I can go into other people's dreams. I'm very telepathic. I also pick up people's emotions. It's been a very good ability to use with people who are suicidal. I was able to really affect them in a positive way. Everyone wants to heal, so there's no karma with that. The only reason that the physical body chooses to want to go is because it's so unhappy. So once we clear those dense energies, they return to that state of peace and goodness. They feel good and they want to live a happy, good life. So I use my abilities, to help out the world as much as I can. So sometimes I become probably a real introvert where I'm just sitting out on the land or sitting with myself, which I highly enjoy doing, and doing my sacred work. And, for me, it's beautiful. So what I was sent to this planet for, it's my divine mission. And I'm very grateful for it and thankful for it. And it's really interesting how tapping into God consciousness actually heals trauma, because I had a lot of trauma as a child. I had trauma with my partner passing away at one point, and it was really, really hard time, but God was always there, knowing that, because I'm in this physical body, in this physical incarnation, it was somewhat hard, but God was always reminding me that God's there. And I felt that unconditional love, which helped me through that. So I don't think about those experiences as something negative. I understand why they happened. I understand, that there were some deep lessons in them, and I'm at peace with them. So I'm okay. So tapping into God consciousness by doing the sacred work really helps you to ascend past those things. You don't even think about it as trauma anymore. You have this like awakening of, oh wow, this taught me a lot of deep lessons, and I wouldn't be so I wouldn't have this depth if I hadn't went through these things. And so it's important to start to look at things as divine lessons and messages, rather than, oh, hey, I'm the victim of them and I'm powerless.
Right.
In fact, the more in life that I've went through hard times, the more I've done my self-work and the more I've empowered myself. And I think that's important for everyone. Don't just lay in bed. Don't just sit there and sob. Go do something to make yourself happy, to shift that energy. That's really important.
Well, so I want to ask about the ETs, because I'm really connected to the Arcturians, and I know that you work with all sorts of beings, and I think you can see other dimensions, so that you're able to collaborate, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. You talk
Like
a little bit
over
about
200 different species of ETs. Literally, I met so the other day I met these like ETs that looked like they were part elephants. It was really, and they said the elephants come from them and hold their consciousness. So it was really beautiful. So I'm always encountering new ETs. The most unique specimen I ever met was a ET that looked like Dino, the dinosaur. And he was like, I'm one of the only one left of my species. And he's like, I came to like, just live on the planet in a body. So he looked like a human man. But then I saw him from across like the room, his real form. Then the man walked up to me and he's like, oh, you could tell I'm not human. And he's like, yeah, I look like Dino. I could see you see my form. So I've encountered a lot of human ETs too. And sometimes I shapeshift into this being that is very tall, kind of a tall white looking ET, but it's more interdimensional. So that's one of the things I shapeshift into. And I remember my life, as an ET. I also can shapeshift into other forms, and I do it a lot. I sometimes shapeshift into a white wolf. That's one of the forms I take too. So it's so beautiful. It's like, instead of like watching a movie, you're literally living in the movie.
Well, Shakespeare said all the world's a stage. a
Yes,
play.
that's true.
That's right. Well, but we forgot. We forgot. So inside you have a new community, a multi-dimensional community.
Yes.
And are you teaching all of this stuff in? I mean, I just think, first of
I'm
all,
teaching people to be gods because they're God.
I
I always say this. I have this great saying. I'm like, the gods are only God because they're tapped into God. So I'm teaching people their original divinity, which we are all creator beings. And I know that might be intense for some people, but hey, if you keep thinking you're not good enough, that you're full of sin and karma and all this stuff, you're going to live that. If you think that you're God and divine and beautiful and amazing, you're going to live that too. So might as well think those things
right.
and
So
believe them.
but I guess I love the alchemy idea of all of this because of the idea of co-creating. Like I like to put energy into projects and books
Yes.
I publish and all of that. So are you going to be teaching stuff like that?
So in my class, I have a multi-dimensional group, which you just spoke about. In my class, I teach them how to go through their emotions and how to go through their cellular system, their organs. I also teach, light magic. I teach about success. I'm doing a smoothie course soon in there, and we do sound bowl healings. I also brought in some breathwork practitioners. I'm bringing in a singing tarot lady, which is going to be amazing. She's going to do a reading for this whole this whole year. And so I'm also bringing in other practitioners, so everyone has access to different healing modalities. And then of course I'm doing the multi-dimensional work, the detoxing in there. I'm also going to teach people how to time travel in the future. Of course, the group, they have a series of exercises they have to go through and get into the self-empowerment and their godhood. And then we'll start to move on to those things. And then eventually I'm going to get the whole group to meditate and work on the whole planet. So it's going there.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. The opportunity, you guys, is to see the bigger picture. And there aren't that many teachers. A lot of the teachers that are like Sarah are still in hiding. They come out a little bit and then they go back in their cave.
I can tell you why. It's like I said, I'm well and I'm happy. It has not been an easy journey though. So I understand why. When I first started this work, this was years ago. I think I was like maybe 26 at the time, and I did the first Basis Project interview. This voice said, okay, when you go into the public and do this interview, which it got so many views, I can't even. But it was like, okay, I did the interview, and it was like this voice said right up, I was in my living room right out loud. It said, oh, now the world is going to know you exist. Whereas before, we kind of kept you cloaked. Understand that there's going to be a lot that comes with this, but we're going to help you. The angels are going to help you to get through this, and the different, beings are going to help you. So it's been a journey, and I understand why, because being out in the public and being so open about this, it's really shocking to some people, or it triggers their shadows and they get so mad at you. And I'm like, I don't know you. You're not, you're mad at me, or you're triggered by me. And it's because your own shadows, that has nothing to do with me. So, go heal that. So I understand I triggered a lot of people. And I think I also triggered people who are disempowered, who are scared of empowerment. But for me, that's a positive thing. I'm just telling you, hey, I have so much compassion that you're living in that pit, that I'm willing to put myself out there, which is never an easy job, especially I'm so sensitive and empathic. I pick up my friends' thoughts. I pick up everything. I'm willing to do this work and be out there to help you, to inspire you, to lift yourself out of that hole, because there's a way out, and I have compassion on you. So don't attack the messenger.
Well, the thing is I mean, I know even when I went to Lynn's birthday party, and you asked me to go upstairs with Lisa Tully and I, Dr. Lisa Tully and I, and you are so generous of spirit. If you see anyone that's struggling during a time period in their life, you do whatever you can. And it was so generous of you. I just held space while you worked on Lisa, but I watched you, and I've been a fan ever since. I just Well, Sarah, really, truly, what you're doing is the upliftment of humanity. And there aren't that many people that can do it in integrity. There's a lot of people that may have a lot of the skills you have, but then they sort of get into the power of it. So how could you talk about integrity? Because I think that's what one of the things that I really think is different about how you work with people.
I really think it's important that we do our self work, and our self work allows us to have that integrity. If we're not doing our self work, we're not in integrity to ourselves, so we can't be in integrity to others. And I think that I got in so much trouble in this community because I'm like the lone gunman. I just say things, and if people like them, they do. If they don't, they don't, and I really don't care. And I was like, okay, we have a lot of people who are so gifted, but they've lost themselves, and they've just, they've went down this path where it's all about, okay, what interview can I do that's big, or how much money I can make. And they're out of integrity because of that. They've lost the whole point that we're here on a divine mission, because they're not doing their self work. That's the thing. And they have really been hurt. They haven't healed, past hurt. So this is all coming up for them and causing them to be out of alignment. So for me, I just, like I said, I got in so much trouble because I would just point it out to people. I'm like, okay, we have billions of people out there and so many are suffering, and there's children dying, on this planet of starvation. We have homeless people. We have so many suffering people. It's so selfish to be out of integrity as a spiritual leader. And even as a spiritual leader, I could say I have an amazing amount of good days. We're going to have that one bad day. And it's really important that we go do that self work, and, that we are transparent about that. I feel that a lot of the awakened community has almost become kind of like the celebrity community, where it's all more of a projection rather than depth to it, which caused me some sadness in a way. And I just had to be like, God, I'm so sorry that these people have lost themselves. And I really pray that they find their way, because the world needs them and they need themselves.
Yes. I mean, we all stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now during this huge time of change. And one of the things that we have to know is that we are so much more powerful than we have been. The programming that we all received was incorrect. And our parents didn't do it on purpose. That's all they knew as well. But it's time now to play. I mean, it really, truly is we were supposed to be able to have some fun here, right?
Happiness is one of the highest vibrations that you can have within yourself. And you can always see where you're at spiritually, or how healthy your body is, by where you're at in your happiness. If you wake up happy, if you're happy throughout the day, you're doing good. And not only are you doing good for yourself, you're doing good for others, because you're bringing that higher frequency. If you're not feeling happiness, there's something wrong. There's more self-work to do. That's the thing. And I feel, I have so much compassion, because I feel like people don't know how their system works. So because of this, they have fallen into this like pit, like I said. So it's really important to keep learning. And also, another big thing in this field is I think that people listen to so many different spiritual leaders, and it confuses them more because they have all of this information. Yes. Just sit with yourself. Literally sit with yourself, because you're God. You have as much information as I have. You have as much information as that other spiritual leader out there. You just need to tap into that. And it might take, 3 weeks. It might take 3 months, but you really need to do the self work and self care. And that, doing small shifts in your life will get you to that point. And it's really important for you to get to that point. If you want a healthy life, if you want a happy life, if you want love, if you want to feel good. And I know everyone in the end wants those things. And they're in these pits, and they just need to start to really look at shifting themselves.
So Yvette, she is located in Sedona, but she is available. Yvette's asking where you're located. So she's in Sedona, but she's also on the web. So,
Yes.
Well, Sarah, again, I think that this whole time period has given us a slowdown period, because at first, when we were shut down for a while, there was a lot of fear of death. There was a lot of fear of this invisible enemy. And you had to come to terms with, oops, have I done what I came here to do? Am I ready to go? How are my relationships? How is my relationship with myself? And so now we're coming out, but it's not the same. It's almost as though my memory is in 3D and I'm in 5D and I have a hard time retrieving it. But now is the time to find the others. And I'm so glad that you're doing community. I appreciate so much that you're teaching. What are you seeing about the groups that you like? I know you're bringing people together in Sedona, and you have a healing. Or do you have a healing center?
No, I don't have enough time to do that. I
Okay.
did it for a little while with my friend and backed out because I'm working on some other projects and I'm booked up with clients. Plus, I'm doing this group. So I'm focused on that right now. But, with community, for me, it's going to be about self-empowerment and becoming multi-dimensional. And once you become multi-dimensional, that's where you're truly empowered. Once you're empowered, there's really nothing to worry about in life or fair because everything that you need is going to come to you. You have the help of the angels, of the interdimensional beings. You have the help of the God energy that's flowing through you, of God consciousness. And you just get to this state where it's like, wow, there's a lot of chaos in the world, but I'm here. And there's a lot of hurt in the world, but I'm here in this divine play and plan to help the world out.
That's beautiful. I think you said a couple of times about sensitivity, and I think that's what a lot of the highly sensitive people are really struggling with is the global consciousness. And the global consciousness that is heavy. It's heavy. It's sad. It does have that confusion. That's why I was talking about making decisions. I mean, even I'm just making decisions like this or using a pendulum a lot because there's too many decisions to make. Are you seeing that too?
So I have a different method. My system usually always tells me. So it's online. So it just completely tells me. So I don't have any chaos with that. It just like this me out shows me this, this, and this. You're right. There is a lot of people who I feel are in chaos too right now. But at the same time, we're on a planet where for thousands of years there was war and suppression and death and terrible things. So it's not going to be an easy job, but it is a job we signed up for previous to coming into this body. Now, what we can do is we can not be the victim, which is really important. We can do our self work. And really, every time something negative is thrown my way, I go deeper into self work. That's how I deal with it. And also because I do a lot of clearing of the planet's energies, what I do, this technique that I do, if I'm having a hard day where there's a lot going on, I literally say to the angels, because I like doing my work 99% of the time because I feel that it is not good to just use the angels or guides to always do your work, which I've seen a lot of people do. I think that gathers negative karma. So I'll be to the angels. I'll be like, hey, please just step in right now because this is an intense day. And they'll step in, and I'll literally see them. I'll lay on my bed or lay outside in nature and the angels will start to just channel golden light into me. So I think it's really important to monitor your system, do your self work. And when you have that self love and you have all those beautiful things within you, you will easily be able to transmute that energy from the planet more. If you're not feeling good because you're not doing your self work, it's going to be way harder. And eventually you're going to get health problems. You're going to get all sorts of problems. And, just when needed, ask the angels to help you out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's angels are just sitting there bored, going because if you don't ask them, they don't interfere unless it's life threatening. But I mean,
That's true.
they'll jump in if you're about to have a car wreck. But otherwise, I mean, they're just sitting there going, I wonder if she's ever going to ask.
They actually, I love helping people out. So I understand that they love helping people out themselves, because that I have that, they have that like a million times more than me, because
Yeah.
they're
Oh, well, it's because they're different. They're in a different frequency. So, can you explain to people that may not understand? I know there's a lot of information about 3D, 4D, 5D, but you are capable of going to much higher dimensions. Your
22D.
how many?
22D.
Oh my gosh. That's my
That's when
favorite
people have
number.
seen me shapeshift. That's when George said he saw me glowing, is when I went. That's pure God consciousness. I have one time went higher than that, but I could see I was sitting in front of a mirror and I couldn't see myself, and it took like 10 minutes to actually be back here. So I get to 22Ds, the dimension I found out that actually you're in super God consciousness without completely going away.
So are you teaching how to do that? How to go? Okay, so your new community is multi-dimensional community. Let's see, it's called isn't it called multi-dimensional
Multi-dimensional, yeah,
community is the name of it.
community,
So
yes.
are you going to be guiding us to be in the 12th? Oh, sorry. I use the 12th dimension a lot, almost every day.
That's good though, because that's really good, because I think a lot of people think 5D is it. And in my experience, it's not it. And one time I was going through the dimensions, and there was this negative entity that was flying through. And then I stopped at 5D and spoke to it, and it said, we can't go above 5D, but we can still go in 5D. That's how we control people's thought forms and mess with thought, because they like a puppet master. And by the way, they're only drawn to people who aren't doing the self work and have karma. So if you don't have that stuff, you can't be possessed. That's the thing there. And so it told me that, and I found that very interesting. This was like probably like maybe like 7 years ago, if I remember right. I don't live in time, so don't quote me on that. But so, negative entities can go up to 5D. They can't go past that. So I suggest everyone, works to go past 5D. I've also noticed that a lot of people in 5D, they still were in balance. So the more that people go up, the more they have this like calmness, this happiness, this like well-being to them, just this beautiful energy. So yeah, going 12D is amazing. There's different beings. Like some of the fairies live in a certain dimension, and the elves live in another dimension. So there's all these different beings that live, on 12D. There's a lot of beings that live there. So yeah, just aspire to go past 5D all the time.
That's perfect. Well, so the courses, again, for people that are just joining us, the courses that are in your new community. So I want to make sure everyone understands. Sarah has given a lot of energy towards educating people, and she can only do so many one-on-ones. So she created, well, really, truly, and you are doing a great job. You really take people way high and help them clear
Oh yeah,
obstructions in their field. You're really
yeah.
amazing healer.
I
Um,
I
but
love I love my clients. I don't even like calling them clients. I like calling them soulmates. I think the whole world, we're all soulmates in the end, because we're all from God consciousness, the same soul. And I love it. Some of them have started successful businesses. Some of them have really, healed their relationships. Some of them have become so healthy and they're up out of bed within like 3 weeks of doing the work. So many people have just elevated. So I'm so happy and thankful for it.
Well, I want to make sure that people understand this great opportunity of this new community, because not only will you get a chance to work with Sarah and in group, is you'll meet other beings that are on the path of enlightenment or higher expression or alchemy or multi-dimensional play, and that's what's missing, really. We're all trying to find each other, but unless you're in a community like this, it's going to be hard on social media. You might find some of the people, but when you want to find your soul group or the people that you already before you embodied said you would play with, Sarah's offering an opportunity for you to be in group, right?
Yes, and my group is all about, helping each other evolve, doing the self work. There's no chaos, no drama, none of that. It's about really elevating yourself and also creating that connection to each other, which is really amazing. I feel as we all being in God consciousness, we all have the same intent just to help out the planet, which is a beautiful thing.
But I think it's more than that. I think it's Davina wants to join, and Karen Cox is telling people to go past 5D also, and
Yes.
yes, good. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Well, I think what we're talking about here a lot is the opportunity to be the expansive self.
Yes, well, I call it the original self before the fall, because there was a fall in frequency, a fall from the God self. So the return to us, who we truly are. How can I put this? The world has been distorted, and people walking around out there, they're not in their real true self, their original self. They're in the distortion of self. So it's really important to clear those distortions and go back to your true self, which is a very powerful divine being. That's very important right now with all the chaos we have on this planet. We need to go there, because that's how we're going to shift this. We're not going to shift it by just staying in our pits and not doing our self work. We need to get rid of those distortions. We need to return to the original true God self.
Perfect, and have more fun.
Yes,
this isn't just all about being
dance, play,
obligation.
Yes. Do all those beautiful things. Say, I dance, play, sing, dress up. It's lots of fun.
It's so perfect.
Make a lot of jokes. I'm always making a lot of jokes. They might shock some people, but I'm making a lot of jokes. No one's gonna laugh.
Well, the thing is that this way people can be in group and they can also do their work, and they'll be in a kind of cradled environment, because learning the other way of reading books and then trying to implement, it's painful, because when you speak the truth, which you do, and that's one of the things I just love about you, is how high integrity you are. When you speak the truth, not everyone has ears that can hear it. Yes. And
that's true, but at the same time, hey, they'll wake up in their time. And I trust God. I think a lot of us have tried in the past, and I've done this myself, to wake up our family, our partners, our friends that we truly love. But we need to give it to the divine and trust the divine. They're eternal souls, and eventually they're going to wake up, maybe not in this lifetime, but that's their free will of choice that we need to allow them to have. So we need to stop forcing these things. So I just speak my truth, and whoever comes, and whoever doesn't. I have I don't really think about that.
Perfect. So this is what Karen says. You can reach higher than level 7. You can access to expansion to the unified field. That's our God self. And the thing is, when people are talking about stuff where they're talking about karma and all of these old ways of looking at things, everything that's in your field is a gift to you.
It's a divine message. That's how I see it.
Yeah, it might not feel like a gift, right?
Yes, that's true for a lot of people. I think that though, people think it's not a gift, it's actually one of the most divine gifts. We wouldn't have so much depth if we didn't have these things. And like I said, instead of looking at them as, oh, hey, this pain was put upon me and I'm the victim, look at them as divine lessons and where you can learn from them.
Right. So so the idea of creating the new earth, and this time we're in this transition period, which may take I mean, there's going to be phases of it. There's going to be like to 2030, there's a, 2029, there's a phase, and then keep going. How do you see what you're doing with community? Are you helping create the new leaders that are going to help with the transition?
The whole group, I don't like leaders, the word leaders, because I think people call me a spiritual leader, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm I chose to be this girl and and just be here on this planet, and I'm not above anyone, and I don't want to be a leader. I'm just speaking my truth and hoping to inspire people to do the self work, which is really important. I feel like everyone, they're their Christ, they're almost saviors in Christ. And once they get to that, then they can start using those abilities to create the new earth. And that's what this project with the multidimensional group is about, is to get people to tap in and then start to, working on the planet to create the new earth. And new earth is actually ancient earth before there was all this destruction.
Right. So the other the other thing I want to go back to is the superpowers. I believe that we all have them. But they're kind of dormant in a lot of people, or they're just getting little views of it. Is the work that you're doing in the community going to help people wake up to their superpowers?
Oh yes, that's like top of the list. I teach them telepathy. I teach them remote viewing. I teach all of these things. I teach them, how they can time travel, how they can channel energy. There's so many different superpowers I teach to people. I have sometimes I just, I just play with my friends I'll have them sit there and I can make them feel their toes, can make their heart go faster. So we all have superpowers, and of course, with great power comes great responsibility, and you're supposed to always use those abilities for goodness. If you don't, they'll be removed from you. So there's always that safety on that.
Right. Well, and when people are learning, how do they pace the classes, or because that's the other thing is because I know that a lot of times if I'll have a big download or a big change, or get a clearing, it takes me 2 days or so to integrate. How do you see all of your work in it, helping people integrate it?
So I give them a week. So they have a class every Sunday, then they get space of a week of where they're able to do all the exercises within that week. So they have enough time to integrate it.
Okay. And then is there the other thing I remember when you were at Mike and Lynn's house, Orwig's, that you put them on a special diet?
Yes, I do detox the whole group too. That's important. Yes.
So
Yes.
is that part of the training as well, as you learn how to eat more is it more vegan, or is it how is the diet connected?
I respect everyone's diets. That's their personal choices. I know what worked for me, so I'm vocal about that. Gut healing is really important. I get everyone to do a detox and to do superfoods and heavy metal detox and parasite detox, which everyone needs to do right now because we have so many chemicals, and then we have a lot of parasites, and that's a whole subject in itself that's connected to karma of our ancestors or past life karma, and we come into these bodies that are full of all these different like negative false light codes that we need to remove, and they do manifest in the system via parasites. But I put everyone on that on that detox, and it really completely shifts them. Some people have like large parasites coming out of them, and then once those parasites come out, they notice that they're more stable, balanced, and calm, which is a beautiful thing. I've come to the conclusion that anyone who has mental health issues or is super angry or super negative has parasites, and I've noticed by detoxing those people, they wouldn't have those issues anymore.
Davina wants to do your parasite cleansing supplements. So
they're great.
I
tried so many. Well, Kathy, like I have so many products in here. I have like $1 million of products, and I tested everything, and I just needed to put together a, a simple detox that would work. And I wound up finding like up to 8 products that worked really well, that wasn't, very expensive, that everyone could afford. So it was some trial and error, but I got there. So it's
Yeah.
an amazing Parasite Detox.
Well, it makes total sense that where these vessels have generations of stuff in them that need to be cleared, and if we want every cell to hold more light, we want to do the work. So it makes total sense to me.
I'm like looking over here. I have to plug in my charger because for
Okay.
some reason,
Okay.
charge here.
So, and then Karen saying there is sacred space in your heart that can give you any power you need. Everything comes from your heart. So, which is connected to source. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. And Yvette wants to know. Thank you, everybody. And Yvette wants to know about how is the group set up? Is there a Zoom gathering and how many a month?
So, I wanted to make it affordable, and I'm very blessed. So it's like, I'm like, how can I reach more people and make it very affordable? Because doing the one-on-ones, I love doing them. At the same time, it takes up a lot of my time, and a lot of people can't afford one-on-ones. So I was like, okay, I was working with Kairos team who worked for me, and they were like, we're going to do this group at $99 a month with 4 Zoom calls so everyone can access your information, your healing techniques, multi-dimensionality. And so, yeah, there's 4 Zoom calls, and I get on live like right now, and I guide you through everything. And then I finish off with like 10 minutes of questions. So you're allowed to ask me questions. You can post questions in the group and I'll respond too. And when we do the group, oh my God, it's like, you're high. You're so high. You feel so high. Like every time I finish a group Zoom call session, everyone's like, I feel so high.
That's so good.
Yes.
That's so good.
It's the God consciousness energy just fills every part of you, and you come this realization of just how beautiful and amazing and divine you are.
That's so perfect. I mean, that's what we really are hoping, is that people realize that the opportunity that they seek to be all they can be is here right now. And Sarah's put together a way for us all to play together at a much different level, full of joy and spaciousness. This is not this. Let your creativity and your imagination create, not the restricted matrix programming of your mind. This is anything, right?
Yeah, well, I wanted to also to present this in such a way of, hey, we have all these people out there, they have jobs, they have their everyday lives. And I think spirituality has been taught to them of, hey, you've got to be a swami sitting out there for hours. So my presentation of, hey, look, I'm a girl living her life. At the same time, I'm multidimensional, and you can merge that into your everyday life and shift your life. You don't have to do those things. I think that's very important because for us to reach the masses, we need to be relatable. And
Right.
they also need to be able to incorporate these things into their everyday life. So that was my approach to it, which has proven to be very, very popular, because I'm like, okay, sure, I dress in jeans and a t-shirt and this and this. And guess what? I'm still doing my spiritual work. So you can do that while going to work and still do your spiritual work.
Right. And because I'm on Conscious Business Zone, and I think business is one of the best, fastest way to turn this boat around. I think this is a tremendous resource for business owners who, especially servant leaders that are giving all their energy and their love to their employees and their customers, that this is a way to refill your cup. Yeah. And work on your own personal growth in a time frame that actually could work for you. You can manage and balance that 3D, 5D existence as well as your cosmic self.
Yes.
And, right. Right?
Yes, and you know that also for success, I'm about to teach a success course to my group. For success, it's really about bringing up your energy. The more energy you have within you, the more that you're going to be successful. So I think just thinking things are, you know, there. It's not going to happen. It's you need energy to power your thoughts. So if you have no charge and you're thinking stuff, it's not going to manifest. You have to have the energy to back the thoughts. And then you get to this state, which is amazing. You don't even think you need to be successful. You have the energy that just manifests it for you. That's the point to get to, which is beautiful. So, yeah,
Wonderful.
that's why I go about success.
Oh, that's so exciting. Because we are manifesting geniuses, but we forgot.
We
So
are all geniuses, but we forget.
that's right. And so what this is going to allow you to do is to be the creator of your destiny, be the creator of your life, and not fall into the victim trap. But it's more than that. It's the energy and the upliftment of yourself and everyone around you. Even, I mean, if you're in service to the all, in service to God and to the all, what you're doing is you're bringing that illumination light to the earth. And this is why we're here. We're here to help change the environment here from competition to collaboration. And we have to do it. It's an inner job. We're creating all of this stuff out here unintentionally, right?
Yes. Yes. And it's also, we're meant to be happy and healthy in life. And we're meant to be successful and well. And I think that it's important that people understand that because I always say this God loves us so much. And if you have a child, you would give gifts to that child. You wouldn't leave them struggling, you wouldn't leave them suffering. And when we truly tap into God, God will never leave us in a hole. God will never leave us without the things we need in life. God will give us so many divine, beautiful blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a perfect reminder. And again, everyone, I've been putting the information in the chat and showing the banner, but I want to make sure that you go to sarahradams.com and keep watching what amazing gifts that Sarah's offering. And consider joining the community. We all want to play together. This is supposed to be fun. Right?
Yes, it is. And it's a beautiful, like I said, beautiful, beautiful adventure. And we are, those of us doing the work, we're in the movie. We're not just watching it.
That's perfect. Remember how powerful you are, you guys. And really, this is an opportunity.
Love.
This is an opportunity to really make a difference for yourself and everyone around you. So please consider joining Sarah and her new community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to offer you a free membership to my group, Kathy.
Oh my
In
gosh.
there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, everyone here, this is so exciting. Greg, okay. So yeah, Greg wants to know how to get in. So I'll put again, and this is also going to be on podcast, this recording, so you can hear over and over again. You will be able to feel the energy in Sarah's voice. Her frequency will uplift you. As she said, she's working in the 22nd dimension. So just if you even play this in the background while you're trying to do something, you'll be uplifted. And the opportunity to have a recording, if you can't go every Sunday to be on the lives, that energy is going to change your environment, change everything about your life.
So I did want to say each of the Zoom call is recorded and backed up so you can go back through them, which is beautiful if you missed them. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's
Yes.
what I meant to say. Yes, because the thing is this is our time. This is why we came. So thank you so much, Sarah. I love you so much. Thank
Oh,
you. And I can't wait to play with you again. We'll do this soon.
yes. I love you, Kathy.
I
Thank
love
you
you
for having me
too.
on your show.
Yeah,
You have
thank
a
you.
blessed day.
Okay. Bye-bye.